feel like the general consensus for Wuthering Waves X Cyberpunk Collab is definitely strange, because on the one hand, I see a lot of people complain about the rewards and the way they went about applying the gacha formula when it comes to the banners of this collab, which got a lot of people upset, including me. But on the other hand, one must admit that we're gonna have peak content, and when you consider how society works and how the market works, to be specific, the higher the quality, the bigger the price. Because when you consider the track record of Wuthering Waves and Kuro games on how they've been delivering banger after banger, the delivery is good, everything about the story is just clean and very, very good. The only thing we lack is I don't know, more effects, more anime effects, which NGE is trying to do. That's what NGE is doing in their approach. But I feel like the story still hits because they're going for a more darker tone, so those anime flashy moments may not hit the same. There's a bunch of them out there. For example, in the Denia quest, I've seen a little bit of them, so they're already listening to that, and I'm pretty sure we might have more, especially in those fun moments, you know, that fun anime girl moments when they go out and eat and stuff, right? Oh my god. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is obviously the quality is gonna be there, and when you take that into consideration, how the characters are probably gonna be playing, when you consider how mechanically smooth Wuthering Waves is, etc., one can somewhat disregard that predatory aspect, because when you can take it into consideration, like I said, the first point, that the higher the quality of something is, the higher the price, one can digest it a little better. But it's quite a polarizing topic, because I don't know about you, because apparently there's some players that have converted their poles into golden poles, and now you can't. Also players that have kept their corals, myself included, a bit, not a lot, but just a bit. Yeah, you can't use those anymore over there, so that's gonna suck. I mean, we can still use them for Lucilla, it's not like an L, but if you're expecting to use them in the Cyberpunk banners, no, tough luck, you are not able to do that. Obviously, we can expand more on this, because wuwa was forced to do this, because it's a collab, they have to pay CD Projekt Red for this as well. It's not all just Kuro, so obviously they have to be a little bit more predatory, which I think is okay and understandable. Also, I'm not encouraging the dev practices here, but I would encourage is for the banners to do well, which I'm pretty sure they do well, because a lot of people like to talk a big game and before they start spending money and getting the characters anyway. It still sucks, they're gonna voice the displeased, but we are gonna probably be adapting to this. We're not gonna necessarily encourage the predatory tactics. We have to let them know that next time, at least warn us or something. And that's what I feel like makes this very predatory and very scummy, to say the least. But the fact is, when you take into consideration how the market works, how we want them to succeed, so that way CDPR can do more collabs, hopefully maybe a future Witcher collab, I think it would fit perfectly here. More CDPR in Wuthering Waves would be a huge W for everybody. I don't know about you, but now there's no big future collab in the future, because at some point everybody was like, well, when's the Cyberpunk collab? What's the Cyberpunk collab? Like, there's always this, you know, this hype moment is coming in the broader horizon, you just don't know when. Well, now we don't have that anymore, so I really hope for maybe the next live stream, they're probably going to be presenting the new cast, because I don't think we know any future character coming. Like, that's it, we are out of characters, we don't know who's coming. Apparently Yang Yang might have a form, I'm hearing people talk about that, but we're not sure, they hadn't announced anything, so we're gonna have to wait and see. But all in all, what I'm trying to say is, whilst the predatory tactics are bad and players are definitely upset about that, the reality is we're gonna be met with good solid content that we've all been waiting for a whole year now. Now, Kurubots are known to be a little too positive about the game and very aggressive towards anyone who's gonna say anything negative towards their game. Now, the #1 Kurobot title has been kind of going back and forth between two people. Saint Task, to no one's surprise, and Gacha Smack. And Gacha Smack has made a 37-minute video going over his thoughts on the Cyberpunk banner drama. I'm very curious to hear what he has to say about this. 37 minutes is crazy in what type of breakdown and analysis he's gonna go over. So without further ado, let's hear what the man has to say. Let's just say the honorary #1 Kurobot. The honorary #1 Kurobot has to say. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to not miss any updates.
I guess I better go subscribe to VXB Gacha.
Without further ado, let's get into it.
What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another video by yours truly. We're gonna try and get through this.
Is he wearing the Saint Task hat? No. It must have been on purpose. It must have been on purpose.
as efficiently and concisely as we possibly can. It's a very polarizing and controversial topic.
Oh,
and that is the
absolutely.
Cyberpunk banner drama. A lot of people are upset with the fine print details of how this collapsed gacha
Absolutely.
system and structure is being orchestrated in comparison to how it's normally set up in Wuthering Waves with limited banner characters. And just based off of what I saw, I can get behind those sentiments. Now, I want to make sure we're perfectly clear here. I think the quality of this collab is so exceptional that it is deserving of money being spent on it.
There it is. There it is. Not that complicated. Told ya. I mean, duh. Higher price, higher quality. Higher quality, higher price. That's just the way things are, man.
Based off what we've seen, we still have to play it when it drops in 3.4. But it's a very controversial and polarizing topic. It has split the community. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people are probably thinking, hey, man, whatever, who cares? I'm going to play it anyway. I'm going to pull on my characters. I'm going to have my fun because Kuro delivers.
Exactly.
Regardless of what side of the fence you're on, it's important that we go to these topics with as little negative or positive biases as possible, hitting agendas, leave them at home, and we try to shoot it down the middle. It's important because this space already is filled with such strong biases.
He said it, not me. Yep.
To the point where the people aren't even aware of their own biases. And
yeah, they don't even recognize that what they're doing. They're just so emotional and so they're just going at it so hard. They don't even stop for a second and go, wait, what am I doing? Whoa. Do I really want to be behaving this way over a video game that sells anime girls? They don't. They just keep going.
It gets disgusting at this time because people get to this, I would say, this mentality where they're like, I can't look to anybody because everybody's just cooked in the brain with their biases. And that's where I try to come in and just shoot it down the middle. That's it. There's no like negative or feelings or positive feelings. Just say it like it is. What do you think it is? If there's any point during this video where I am being very opinionated, I'll be sure to state that it is an opinion. Okay.
All right.
With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. Before we get into all of the details, I want to let you guys know all of the problems I'm going to have with these details starts with one fundamental concept, and that is the changing of rules. Every gacha game has a system set up as soon as the game comes out. And for that system to be unwavering and unchanging, at least to make sure that it doesn't get worse as time passes by, is important in terms of the ethical practice of that monetary incentive. When you change rules up and it makes it worse on the consumer that's playing your game, now we're dipping our toes into unethical territories, and that's where problems start to occur.
Yep. The fact is, we are conditioned into this system. And also when we look at competition, for example, something like SSR or Hoyoverse, really, we don't have, it's a turn-based game. No, like Hoyoverse is a big gacha company, and they have the same gacha practices that wuwa has obviously copied from Hoyoverse, because Hoyoverse has shown it is a working formula. You will get these results if you apply that formula. Facts. The fact is, we've seen that there. The logical expectation is going to be wuwa is going to do the same. They didn't do the same. Okay, now we have a problem because it kind of comes off unethical, kind of like I said at the start. It comes off very scummy, very predatory. And of course, a lot of people are not going to enjoy being on the receiving end of that.
It's okay to change rules to make it better for the consumer as time goes by.
100%.
But to change those rules just to make more money at the expense of the consumer, that's where I'll have problems. That's where I'll call out the things that I find to be unethical and also just bad business practice.
Absolutely.
With that said, speaking of changing of rules, let's start off with this first one right here. You need 480 elusive corals to buy a 360 coral dupe. Yep, you heard that correctly. For whatever reason, despite corals costing 360 in this...
Oh, snap. I'll be honest. I so don't care about these. I didn't even know how much they will cost. So the normal ones cost 360, but the collab ones cost 480. Obviously, they're going to do this because the collab characters are more rare, right? They want to give them that value. And obviously, they have that value. And we don't know if they're going to have a rerun or not. And they're only here for like a month. So a lot of players are going to be very afflicted by the FOMO that they're creating. This is manufactured FOMO. Obviously, these gacha companies, they do this on purpose. This FOMO is done by design. It's not something that's just an event in the world. No, they're just doing this to manipulate you into spending more than you would have otherwise, because this is a one-time event, only lifetime event. So you think, and before they do the rerun, a lot of y'all are going to be mad at that. But fact of the matter is, I can understand the logic behind it. Again, it just sucks being on the receiving end, because why? Like, you just price them out even more, like you're doing more. You're taking advantage even more of this FOMO that you yourself has manufactured artificially. It's so annoying.
Shop right now. You won't be able to buy the collab characters 360 cost dupe until you have 480. Yes, you need 120 more just to purchase.
Oh, so basically what they're doing is they're giving you a threshold. You need to reach a certain threshold. They're kind of like those events. You know, those events. Oh, you need to reach the one we just had with the Denio in the anniversary. You're supposed to reach this amount only then can you unlock these rewards. And then you can purchase them with that currency. That's what they're doing. They're doing that over here as well. But that's not how the Coral Shop works. And I think that's what Smack is trying to paint here, is because we know how the Coral Shop works. And that's not how it's supposed to work. This is new. You keep changing these rules to take more advantage of the FOMO that you artificially created in these banners. Like, we're fine if you want to up the bounty, but at every turn, there's more predatory practices. I wasn't even aware of this. It just keeps getting worse.
The 360 dupe. I had to say that and be explicit because I know you're probably thinking, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why do I need 120 more? I don't know.
No, they're doing it on purpose. It worked on me in there was this event, right, in the anniversary, where it's like what I said. The more you spend in the banners, for example, if you pull for characters or weapons, you culminate. The more pulls you do, the more it unlocks in the shop. I wanted the Hayuki thing in the cube and the doll, right? They're cosmetics. I kind of wanted them for my units. I like Hayuki. I like Denia. I wanted to, give them those little things. And also, I could afford it, right? I just used my corals through a bunch of pulls. I ended up getting an early in the standard banner. That was pretty nice. Got that static mist ready for Lucy. I'm not getting the weapon. I don't think we can afford the weapon, guys. All right, fuck it. And the reason why I did that, as to why I would do pulls and risk getting earlies in Chisa's weapon or anything like that, is because the event forced me into doing those pulls in order for me to even unlock those things so that I can purchase them. It kind of works. If it's somewhat free, kind of like what I did, I just used some corals and stuff. It's fine, but if you're close to pity and you have a choice to make, that's just very scummy and annoying, man. It really, really is. It really encourages you to spend. It's very annoying. I'll be real, man. This type of practices, they should just stop doing it. Like, it's like rat behavior. It's so scummy. Like, why? You don't need to do that. Like, you got us. We're here. We're fine. Like, the current formula, the current system that we all know, we don't love, but we're navigating it. We're fine. Just keep it that way. But you keep doing these little tweaks to make it worse. Do it, make it better. Remove the 50-50. Whatever. Do something. God.
This, to me, screams greed maxing. And if you're thinking Smack maybe didn't
100%.
read it correctly, yes, I did. If anything, the typo is on Kuro's behalf. But here's the thing.
That's the thumbnail. Greed maxing. Kuro is greed maxing. W thumbnail.
First of all, let's just show it there in 4K. You can see that says 360. You can see it's blacked out. It's blacked out because they don't have 480. The rule, once again, is up here in 4K HD. It says you need at least 480 elusive corals. Now, that's it. Why are they doing that? I can't view it any other way other than greed maxing in a take I'll have once we wrap up all of the scrutiny we have for these details for this collab.
100%.
Right now, it's greed maxing. And then there's one other point I want to reference at the end of this video. Let's move on. The next thing, people are taking problems with the fact that the banner, the collab banner, has a 50% chance, a 50-50 system, and it's not a guaranteed system. Let's peel back the layers on this real quick. One of the complaints is PGR players are saying in the PGR collab, it was
True. The PGR, because that's Kuro. That's Kuro Games. Kuro Games is the company behind PGR and Wuthering Waves. So I don't want to hear anybody say, well, NGE has no 50-50s. Why would Kuro have to do the same? No. This is Kuro as well. Now, let's listen up.
100% rate up for the DMC characters, no 50-50. If you come from PGR, then you have some leeway because you're basically going, it's the same company. Why didn't they do the 100% rate up like they did in PGR?
Because wuwa is more successful than PGR. It's really not that complicated. I'll be honest with you. We all know it. Yeah, because wuwa can make a shit ton more money off the popularity they have right now. Do you think they're not going to try and do that? Of course they will. Were you born yesterday? Of course they will. Now, being on the receiving end sucks. I mean, we may understand this. I'm not trying to kurubat here. I'm just trying to explain why a certain behavior occurs. We may not like it, but at least we understand it. And we understand something. We can have let's just say, a more disciplined approach towards dealing with it, because unfortunately we're probably not going to quit Wuthering Waves over this. All right, guys, we're probably not going to quit, and because of that, we're going to have to be smart about how we approach these banners. And the first thing we want to do is to be emotionally regulated. And I feel like when you understand why something happens, it allows you to make sense of everything that's happening, breathe a breath of fresh air, and behave accordingly. So that's what I'm doing over here.
I can understand that line of thought. If you've never played PGR and you've been a wuwa player since day one and you're complaining about this 50-50 system, admittedly, I find it hard to get behind that logic. You essentially have been supplementing and supporting a company that's done a 50-50 system since the start of the game. why are you surprised that they're still doing the 50-50 system for the collab? That's kind of my thought process on that. I'm like, brother, I'm sorry, but they've always done this. I expected them to do this. This is
Yeah, it's like what SSR did. I mean, we had the 50-50 there too. Like, duh. I mean, look at the Hoyoverse, the very thing they're emulating, the very thing they're copying from. Duh. Of course they're going to keep that there. It's just that they did it for PGR probably because they really wanted people over there. Because PGR is obviously not as popular as Wuthering Waves. The numbers don't lie. Because a lot of people pulled up to PGR because of the DMC collab and the fact that there is no 50-50. Like, you can easily get it and get into the game. That's just a huge hook for players to come in. It's not the same formula for Wuthering Waves.
not beyond the realms of my expectations. We can cope and say maybe it'll be 100% rate up, but if it's 50-50, oh, it's always been a 50-50 game, so
Exactly.
doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense to complain about that. Now, if it was NTE, who has 100% rate up, and then their collab is 50-50, then I would, once again, we're changing rules. When you start changing shit, that's where I'm like, oh, I hear you. Yes, get on the ass, stand on business, bitch about
100%.
get up in arms on it. I'm full behind that logic because they're changing rules. That's scummy. That's unethical.
The reality is, let's call a spade a spade. People are tired of the 50-50. You know it. I know it. We all know it. I'm the only guy that's just saying what we're all thinking. Everybody's just got used to it. And we're like, just shut up. We're just dealing with it. It's like a nagging wife. It's like getting used to a nagging wife. Like, she nags you all the time. You just get used to it. She's like, whatever. I don't know about you, but I don't want that nagging to continue. I don't want this 50-50 to continue. I'm tired of it. Fuck it. I feel like the gacha system in NTE has got to be the most genius move NTE has introduced to the space. You sit there, you actually watch your polls in action in 4K HD. You're just sitting there. You're seeing every poll and what it does. And also there's these, it's like a casino. You don't know what you're going to get. You see everything. There's no 50-50, of course. The moment you see gold, the moment you see S rank, like, that's it. You did it. You got it. There's the rainbow bridge. There's these other bridges to the left. You can get extra pulls just by doing things. There's this weird mechanics that pops up out of nowhere if you get certain things. It's fun. It's really fun. Whether it's the pulling itself or the lack of 50-50, we have to admit the gacha system NTE is a wake-up call to the Hoyoverse formula, especially when it comes to the gacha. And people are still trying to come after, but we'll get to that video. Like, it's so crazy to me how people still to this day are kurobotting and defending this level of predatory practices because they just kind of got used to it and got numb to the nagging. It is beyond me, man. I get it, but I feel like we kind of have to stand on business when you see positive change occurring to the space. We want to capitalize on that and swell the wave to make the changes that we really want happen. The reality is, a lot of y'all are tired of the 50-50. The moment you saw the 50-50 in these banners, because you can't use the golden pulls and everything, you have once again been slapped into waking up to reality of how predatory and annoying and how much of a nuisance the 50-50 system is. You just don't want to admit it.
And that's greed maxing territory. For the 50-50 system, I can't get behind that, right? It's hard logic for me to get behind because you've effectively subscribed to a 50-50 system for 2 years with Wuthering Waves. That's how I think about it. Now, the next one, the guarantee count for the collab characters is shared only among the collab characters. Event banners under the same collab campaign. It resets once a 5-star.
I'm with him there, 100%. I mean, you subscribe to it every time you log in. You keep playing the game. You keep spending money on the game. You are encouraging the 50-50 system, 100%. Especially if you spend after you lose your 50-50. At that point, you just said it's fine. I can fix it with money, and that's what they want anyway. So really, it is what it is. However, I feel like players for the longest time managed to navigate it. Getting lucky, of course, helps a lot. That's just the way you can feel somewhat special in these games, that being lucky is incredibly important. But also, I feel like something very key to keep in mind is because you cannot use those additional resources you typically would have towards this to try and negate some of the damage the 50-50 causes as you try to get something, is why players are more mad about the 50-50 being present. And you know it. You know it. Like now, because of the additional stuff around the banner, because it's not just, oh, there's a 50-50, but everything is the same. If it was the case, no one would care. But it's the fact that there's a new coral shop. There's a new currency. You cannot use the previous currency. You have to just use Astrice or the spending currency. Now it's a huge problem, and you know it.
Now, the next one. The guarantee count.
Oh, and also you don't get to use your pity. Forgot about that.
For the collab characters is shared only among the collab characters. Event banners under the same collab campaign. It resets once a 5-star resonator is obtained. Effectively, pity does not carry over from the collab characters. This is changing of rules again.
Wait, pause. You don't get the pity already existing in your accounts like in the normal premium banners. in the collab banners, I think one of them, like if you pull for them, it's shared between the two. But if you get pity in here, it does not translate to the other premium banners. These are like separate, their own separate entity. And obviously it's done on purpose because, well, they really want you to hold off and wait before you can pull. I made a few videos about this. Just save your pulls, get all the event free pulls you can as possible, and then spend them on this. Because if you get this day one, you will not be able to take advantage of the free pulls they give you because that pity will not carry over to the premium banners. So, which freaking blows. I'm not sure. I think HSR has the same thing. Fate collaboration banner is not shared with regular character event warps. Collab banners run on a completely independent pity counter and starts from 0. So there it is. Yeah, HSR does the exact same thing. I'm not surprised this is the case. I wouldn't call it changing the rules. Good old Gacha smirk. I would say considering what they're doing over there in HSR, and obviously Kuro copies HSR and copies Hoyoverse more specifically, they're going to do this shit. This is not the first time we've seen it. It's just what's surprising and shocking about this is like, well, we expected it to be like HSR, but not changing the rules to making it even scummier than they are. Like, that's just annoying. And I feel like that's what's happening here.
Change the rules now. wuwa is not a game that does this. wuwa is a game that says if you lose a 50-50, you're guaranteed.
No, wuwa does what Hoyo does. We all know it. Now, we're not going to sit here and pretend that's not what they're doing. We all know that's what they're doing. Oh, yes, they do.
The next 50-50 on the next banner that comes over. They're changing the rules specifically for the collab. I find that problematic. I don't give a damn if a collab is different. Well, you can try and frame it however you want to frame it. The reality is you change those rules for one reason and one reason only, to make more money. And that's scummy because you guys, Gacha companies in particular, Wuthering Waves, you're an evergreen 10-cent title. You make enough money. You make a lot of money. You make too much money.
Well, one can never have enough money. That's the one rule you have to always keep in mind when approaching Corpa. When you see Corpa making money, always keep in mind that one can never have enough money because that's the rule and that's the logic they're going and how to do business. So tough.
How can I say you make too much money? Smack, don't you think you're getting behind your means by saying they're making too much money? Who are you to define that? Just reference other games that are tried and trusted. Just reference any games in the mainstream space that have won Game of the Years, Clair Obscures, Elden Rings, whatever, you name them. And the amount of money that those games generate it's a drop in the ocean when you compare it to what Gacha games generate on a monthly basis. Even a game like Wuthering Waves. These games make so much money.
Yep.
It's absurd. They are overpriced with their shops, but
Absolutely.
people still play them because they have gambling addictions, the free-to-play model, and all the predatory practices,
Exactly.
the hype, the FOMO, the adrenaline. All of it contributes to money being spent.
Absolutely.
And so that said, not like keeping the pity is scummy because you're greed maxing once again. You capitalize on the feelings of people who want to play the Cyberpunk Edge Runners collab and own these characters. And so I think anytime, once again, the rules get changed, that's when problems step in. You should not be changing the rules of your system to try and get more and secure more profits. You should be keeping them the exact same. If anything, if you do change them, it's for the betterment of the consumer, not for the worse of the consumer.
The reality is, I'm not trying to defend this system, of course. There is a smart way to navigate it. Wait for the event, pulls, get them all, you pull, and as you're pulling, use your coral, unless, of course, you're aiming for dupes. That's a different ball game. But for anybody like me that's just trying to get just Lucy, as you're pulling, the moment you have corals, use those corals. Use those babies, and you keep pulling and pulling and pulling until you reach Lucy, and you dip out. After you finished login event, 10 days in, and there's this other event. So basically, you can get a total of 20 free pulls off events. The moment you get that, you spend those, and you keep building on that through corals. And you just get Lucy. Should not leave anything behind when it comes to the pity. So that way you don't miss out on a poll. So because if you do this, you get to at least save your asteroids for the rest of the stuff because you're still playing the game. You still want to keep as much asteroid as possible. So don't lose to instant gratification. Be smart, and that way this won't necessarily affect you. But again, I'm not trying to defend it. The fact is, it shouldn't even be here in the first place. But we're gonna have to navigate it the same way we navigated the Honkai Star Rail banners.
The collab lasting for 32 days. Mixed feelings about this one. It's once another opinionated thing for me. I am of the belief that you've had a whole year to know this collab was coming. If it lasts for 32 days, that should be enough time for anybody to secure the collab characters that they want to have. That said, this 32-day length kind of compounds on top of all the other things that they've done. And we'll get into those details. And that kind of makes it more of a problem. But me personally, I don't think it's fair for you guys to go like, oh, HSR's had a banner lasting for an entire year. A collab banner lasts for an entire year. Why can't wuwa do that? In some ways, I think the comparisons can be fair in terms of monetary incentives. But for a collab, it's pretty preferential up to whatever developers want to do. I'm going to be real, bro. Developers for the longest have always done limited time collabs. And if you come into the period for the collab, you can get it. If you missed out on it, well, you're going to have to wait for it to come back whenever it comes back. That's good business. It makes people log in during that period to
promo.
to play the collab and have the characters. Plus, people who own those collab characters get to go and say, "Hey, I own this character. I was here for that."
Exactly. It's flexing. There it is. Finally, someone else says it. People love to flex. I've been saying this before. I'll say it again. People love to flex their gacha units. And when something is scarce, it's artificial scarcity that these companies create themselves. It's very important for players. It's like card games. You see this a lot. Oh, we're gonna make this this card. It's very rare. Players chase it, and the reason why they chase it is because they're rare. They want it for themselves. Because if you have it, that's one off the market. No one else gets to own that but you. That's it. And I hear people even buy out cards where they get all of these rare cards for themselves. So that way, no one else is having these. You are the only one that has them. So people like to own unique things, unique to themselves, and because of that. They're doing this. They're creating this artificial scarcity so that they can capitalize on people's desire of wanting things that are unique to just themselves. It's again another layer of predatory practices that they apply. They think we don't see them. We do. And that's why a lot of players get mad when banners, when this stuff reruns, etc., reprints in card games. This happens a lot. And the reason why is because they expected a certain level of uniqueness to themselves by owning those items until the company's like, we had that feeling for a year or two now. So enough is enough. We kind of want to capitalize on this scarcity that people are asking for these characters to be here again. There's this wave of players that want this. And so we deliver it to them. We're capitalizing on this desire that the other players want these characters, and we're going to rerun them. Yeah, they're going to do that. They're going to rerun them eventually when players' sentiment towards these collab characters is at the highest again. They're going to rerun them to capitalize on that desire. They will.
I really don't think it's that big of a deal. But if you ask me, in terms of length, I think it would have been more ideal for it to last at least 6 weeks, the way most banners last, or up to 8 weeks, right? Most 3 months long. I think that would have been ideal. But again, 32 days after knowing the collab is coming for as long as we've known it,
it's enough.
There's plenty of time for anybody who's been keeping up with wuwa, who's a fan of wuwa, to secure these characters. That's kind of how I view it. But
again, it's predatory. It's 100% predatory. That's why it's not as long. It's an attempt to be as predatory as possible, but they kind of had to keep it somewhere in the middle. So that's why they chose that particular number. But it's fine. We should be fine, right, guys? Right?
Hey, that's just my opinion on that one. It's not meant to be taken as fact. I don't think it's a gold standard, though, that they should last as long as HSR's collab banner lasts. I really don't think that should be a gold standard. It's up to the developers. It's up to the party.
I mean, if you're copying everything, you're even to the pity and shit, the least you can do is keep it as long as possible. But you're not going to have that scarcity, you know what I'm saying? HSR kind of did something kind of good, which is they give you like the free Lycon of the free character they gave you. So that's kind of like a little bit of a, pull more, spend money, and you get to have this one for free. You get to have the best in slot for the already free character you have. I don't know about you. That was a good incentive. That's what I did. I spent 200 pulls. I didn't spend money. I was ready. I spent 200 pulls, and I got Archer and his icon, and while pulling for Finon, very desirable character, Saber, of course, and their Lycons. And there it is. I piled up 200 pulls spent on the banners. I got it for free as well. So in that patch, I got 3 new characters because of Archer and 3 new Lycons. That's pretty good for 200 pulls. I don't know about you, but that's pretty solid.
Before we move on to the next thing, I want to point this out. You also don't know the split that CD Projekt Red is taking from this.
There it is. He said it. Yep. This is a very important factor. I told y'all before. Thank God Smack is pointing this out too. They need to pay CDPR. They're paying them a lot. This is obviously a more of a publicity move for wuwa more than it is a monetary move. What do I mean by that? Not because of the pity and stuff. Of course, it's monetary, but of course, I'm talking about the collab itself, on why did it even occur. They really want their name, they really want their brand to be associated with something huge like CDPR. They really want that. And because of that, bigger brand, bigger the money, the bigger the cut. Because one might argue CDPR is doing wuwa a favor for collabing with them. Believe it or not. I know you all like wuwa and all that stuff, and Kuro's huge and stuff, but CDPR is huge. Because they're the ones that made The Witcher 3. And that is huge. And Cyberpunk 2 is pretty impressive, all things considering the difficulties it had on launch. But really, it picked itself back up. The devs managed to salvage that to a good extent from what I hear. The fact of the matter is, when it's the power dynamic is like that, Kuro will probably have to pay a big cut to CDPR, and because of that, for Kuro to at least make sure that their bottom line is still respected, that the expected revenue from this is still within investors' let's just say, satisfaction, they're going to have to proceed with these scummy ass tactics to make sure both sides are satisfied. CDP are satisfied and the investors are satisfied. It sucks to be Kuro here, but this is a necessary move that I applaud them for because, like I said at the start, I want this to succeed. I want Kuro to have their name really up there, especially now that they're on Steam as well, so that more companies and more collabs can happen. Hopefully a Witcher 3 one.
Profit every time a sale goes through from Lucy or Rebecca. And so if the banner lasts for a whole year, how much money is being given to CD Projekt Red's pockets instead of Kuro's pockets with that collab banner staying up? People are pulling towards them instead of pulling on the characters that Kuro are promoting. This is a line of logic that ties into what I'm going to talk about at the end of this video.
Yeah, well, that's assuming that they have a percentage type of agreement in terms of payment. We don't know how the contract works. Over there, maybe they gave them a one-time full payment. Look, we're going to give you guys these meals. We're going to use these characters. And now we can, you know, they're over here. We'll respect the characters, of course. But that's it. Any revenue is for us. We don't know that. Or maybe it's percentage. If this is percentage, what Smack is saying makes total sense. But we don't necessarily know that. This is, I think, very important to highlight.
This is what I think was going on. But I really do believe that's part of the reason why Kuro ain't making the collab last that long. Because the longer the collab lasts, the more they have to give that split of their revenue over to CD Projekt Red instead of their characters that they're trying to sell to you because they get to keep more piece of the pie, right?
Yeah, I see why he would lean towards this particular version of the contract. I can see why. But again, I think for me, it's probably just that artificial scarcity. They're just creating that, you know, FOMO. They're just trying to FOMO max those banners.
It always comes down to money, boys. I'm telling you, it always comes down to money. But that's kind of something I just wanted to keep in your head. Once again, we'll give a full opinion on it at the end of the video. Let's get back to some of these issues. Here's a pretty big one. We skipped one portion. I want to save this at the end. We'll come back to it. But here's a pretty big one that the community is up in arms about. Very controversial.
The Coral Shop.
And that is the changing of the currencies. Before I even give an opinion on it, I want to ask you guys one good question about this, okay? Why do you think Kuro Games changed the currencies to this exclusive currency?
Well, to maximize profit. Duh. Because I can't use the old currency that they gave me through the anniversary and stuff, so I can't capitalize on the already existing currencies and freebies they've given me. So therefore, they're really trying to make even free-to-plays become spenders, which a lot of these games are trying to do, hence the free-to-play model. They get you through, that's the hook, it's free to play, so you just start playing for free, and before you realize it, you start spending. Oh, it's just $1 here, $5 there, but that's it. The moment you start spending, you open the floodgates of normalizing that spending money in this business practice is fine, is okay. They got you. Before you realize that you're spending $50, $100, it's totally fine to you. Yeah, that's how it works. So they're trying to maximize the chances of that happening for these characters because they know a lot of players, especially maybe Cyberpunk players that have never heard of this, coming in, they might get a bunch of golden pulls off events that because you just started playing. Maybe I don't know if you get those or not. You cannot use those, and also more dangerously is the corals themselves. If you spend, for example, on the standard banner, you just started playing the game, you're spending on the standard banner, you can get a bunch of corals. You might get maybe a free 10 pull off those corals. Well, yeah, you can't use those, unfortunately, in these banners, which incentivizes you even more to want to spend money to get these characters. So yeah, it's gonna be my take.
There's only one answer, and I mean this. There's literally only one answer: to make more money.
FOMO maxing.
That's it. Changing the currency and taking away the currencies you already have on your account to be allocated towards the collab characters drastically increases the chances of you spending the money to make up for that currency you no longer have to then secure the character you want to have.
That's why players are pissed off that the 50-50 is here. You know it, I know it, we all know it. That's why we mad. That's why that 50-50, we look at it and we go, well, fuck. Well, now I can't use my corals. I was banking on those. I can't use the anniversary pools they gave me. I can't bank on those. Well, fuck. God damn it. Now I can't, if I lose the 50-50, I'm nuked. I have to spend. Well, fuck.
Or Rebecca or Lucy dupes or Rebecca dupes, signature weapons, so on and so forth. It's to make more money. That's it. No other reason. To make more money. And it's to calculate and anticipate people making errors on their account, being naive and thinking that this company is not a gacha company that will fuck you over.
Thank you for saying that, man. These Kurobots, man. I don't know. Do you forget? Do you even remember? This is what they are. Like, stop trying to fight for them. Any gacha company, really, don't fight for them. They don't care about you, man. Unless you're sponsored by them, then sure. When we understand the behavior, then we're not going to get behind it, but we at least understand it. But you're not even sponsored by them. You're doing this for free. Imagine sucking dick for free. God damn.
All of it, though, points in one direction to generate more profits. That is why there's a changing of the currency. And so with that in mind, I would ask you guys, what do you think of this situation? I already know most of the answers, but they have now changed it to an exclusive currency. You can only pull on the signature weapons of these characters with this red currency, and you can only pull on the characters with this red currency. Now, when we come over here and we take a look at, let's just look at my account right now. I'll be having a lot more pulls. I always last minute a lot of stuff. These 16 limited pulls will not be used at all towards the collab.
I literally had probably the same number. I had like 15 or like 17, something like that. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Right there in 4K.
So that's minus 16 there. And then it gets even worse. The signature weapon also can't be used towards the signature weapon. And then there's a big one. I'm getting ahead of myself. The corals in this shop will not be effective on the collab characters as well. This is a big one, but since I'm getting ahead of myself, we haven't gotten to this yet. We'll come back to it. But I would say there's a post on Twitter that's like a perfect example of this. I want to pull it up because it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one, guys. This dude here says, I've been a fan of Edge Runners and heard about the collab. So started from last summer. I've been steadily saving up bit by bit, but I ended up exchanging most of it for that gold spinal wave pattern.
Yeah, I heard about this. Oh yeah, that's bad. That's painful.
About the Radiant Tides. I had no idea it was going to turn into a dedicated stone or whatever, but isn't there some way to fix this? I've sunk 320 hours into it, and I dropped some cash on Gacha too, but it's brutal that this can't be used. He saved 540 Radiant Tides.
The reason why I know a lot of players, this is the question that a lot of players have been asking. This is the reason why. Because I did this in the past. And as someone that has done this before, let me tell you something. Why we retard max like that. Let me tell you why. The reason why I used to retard max like that is because I just wanted to see the numbers of polls exactly in my account. I can see it. I think even my boy Happy in Genshin, we convert Primo Gems into polls because Primo Gems, like, you got to do this math. 160, you have to keep calculating, especially when you have a big number of the convertible currency. You don't know exactly how much polls do you have. You have to go to the shop and you attempt to exchange. You max it all the way up and you get to see how many polls you have. But for me, that wasn't enough. I had to convert them so that way I always see, every time I open the poll screen, I get to see how many polls I've accumulated, right? It's quicker. Right, I have a quicker time to see how many pulls I have. I don't have to go to the store, max that thing out, try to exchange Primo Gems into Intertwined Fate to see how much. Like I said, this is my Genshin days, back in the day when I was retard maxing. But later down the road, I realized how stupid that was in the sense of it's completely unnecessary. You shouldn't care how many pulls you've accumulated that much. You shouldn't care that much about it. And that's it. I just stopped doing it. But that's the reason why. Wasn't because, oh no, this is bad, I should probably keep this because they might shock me one day by a different currency or something. Also, Primo Gems I think are important because you can convert them into stamina, etc. They're more flexible. So you're always better off keeping the convertible currency than keeping the pull currency. So I was like, you know what? Maybe the smart thing is to always keep my Primo Gems, and I stopped doing this. But it was up until recently in SSR, to be honest with you, near the end of SSR. But for players that may not know better, that just are trying to keep track of everything, for example, this Japanese player trying to see how many pulls they have. I've been them. I've done this. I understand it. But this is just someone that doesn't know better. This is the problem with Gacha, man. This is someone that's obviously new. He's just coming in from last summer. He's been playing for, I think, a year now. And apparently he didn't know better. The fact is, especially when you look at SSR, the expectation is obvious. It's probably going to have to be the same, right? Because SSR didn't do this and wuwa copies Hoyo. So obviously they're just going to do the same. Like, why would they have a new currency? Well, what we failed to realize is that CDPR is a bigger IP, probably making Kuro needing a bigger cut for them. Therefore, they have to maximize profit, and in order to do that, they have to be scummier towards this. And the way they went about it is using a different currency. Yeah, man, it is what it is. It is what it is. It sucks to see. I feel for this guy. He seems to be a true fanboy, but unfortunately, this is Corpa. It sucks. This should not be applauded. You can say rip Bozo, sure, in true internet troll fashion. Fuck it, yeah, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, this type of practices should not be encouraged and should be called out.
He converted his universal astrites into a radiant tide. Now, guys, there's a lot of opinions on this. There's people cooking this dude right now. EO saying that's definitely his fault. There's no way to spin that on the developers because all you had to do was wait. It's not like astrite isn't used for everything in the game anyway. Now, this is not me trying to get you guys to take EO side or go against them. What I would say is there's merit to what EO is saying.
Absolutely. It's on both sides. devs shouldn't have been this predatory, but then again, they are behaving in their own nature because you understand that these gacha companies are predatory by nature. That's what they do. It's like complaining that water is wet, that water makes you wet. Yeah, if you touch water, you're gonna get wet. That's just the way it works. If you touch fire, you're gonna get burned. That's the way fire works. What do you want me to say? Yes, that it's fire. What do you want me to say? And on the other side, it's kind of a shame. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, boy. It's like
can say it's a skill issue, but to defend it is also equally as correct.
Bad.
I mean, I'm sorry, incorrect as well.
Exactly. This is a 6-9 situation. Both sides are correcting what they're trying to say, but in this situation, though, both are bad.
Like basically, this is one of those two things can be right at the same time.
Exactly, 6-9. Because if you have a 6, if I look at a 6, you're gonna see a 9. If you're in front of me, you're gonna see a 9. I'm gonna see a 6. We're both correct. What we see is correct to our perspectives.
Universal currency into a one-dimensional currency, you could say, bro, why would you do that? And I get the logic behind that. I'm not even gonna say you're an idiot or you're wrong or whatever. But at the same time, a currency being shifted into a new currency is no excuse as well. This is why I says two things can be right at the same time.
Yep.
We can say this guy shouldn't have converted all his pools into 540 radiant tides to be rendered useless for the collab, but we can also acknowledge that Kuro Games withheld this information from the community up until a week or in some change before the launch goes live.
Yes.
Why didn't they announce this back when they announced the PGR? I'm sorry, the Cyberpunk Edge Runners collab a whole year ago? Why didn't they say also, guys, we want to give you the heads up ahead of time to know that this will have a unique currency. Do not convert your radiant tides. Why do you think they did that? They intentionally withheld that information to bank on your naivety in believing that they wouldn't screw you over. We know why they did it. They're a gacha company at the end of the day. And I tell you guys all the time, these gacha companies are what?
Fire will burn you.
Answer that for me. They're not
predatory
your friends. They will fuck you over. They are here to make money at the expense of their consumer, even the consumer that's supporting them and spending more money than everybody else. There are people who are spending on these banners. Every single banner. They're getting Denia, they're getting Luke, they're getting Sigrika, and they're picking up the Hiyuki, and they're getting on the collab characters. These people are the ones with the most corals in the shop. These are the people who are spending the most money on their game, and they're the ones getting fucked by this. So, it's a skill issue. And
yeah, if you're already a spender, oh man. The only cope I have is that I'm a free-to-play plus, like I just get the monthly pass. And I still have I had to sacrifice Sigrika though. Sigrika is the only high heroic character and premium character I do not have in the game. I do not own Sigrika. I don't think I'll ever be able to own her. But she had to take the hit, all right? Looking at what was coming, she had to take the hit. But at least I used some of my corals for Mornier E1. I was pretty satisfied about that. When I heard about this, I was like, well, thank God I used my corals for Mornier while Mornier was still here. I got like a very solid support. Maybe I shouldn't have because here's the thing. I still accounted for the corals I had because I had like around 30 extra pulls. So I'm like, okay, I can already have a guarantee attempt at the not a guarantee attempt, at least can reach 50-50, and by the time the banner ends, I'm pretty sure I can guarantee the collab character. But without the corals now, I cannot account for them. Well, that's gonna get a little too tricky. Now I have to make sure those go to Lucilla, which is fine by me, but I cannot I cannot expect to get Lucy anymore, like to guarantee her. Like I'm gonna have to figure that out as this progresses. But yeah, this is the problem with this, is that for players like myself, well, I did it to a minimum extent. I mean, just 30 pulls. It's not the end of the world, right? Like I can still use them in Lucilla, which I'm planning to get anyway, so that's fine. Like they have a spot. I'm gonna use them. But for the collab, tough. I'll be honest, I was planning to do them in the collab first because I feel like that's where they have the most amount of value being spent on. Because Lucilla is probably going to get a rerun if I miss her. Like, I'll probably get it in a rerun, but these guys are probably not going to have a rerun anytime soon. So there's a bit of my more priority towards the collab units. Well, I can't use the corals there. So that sucked. That hurts me. But for other players, kind of like Life Lessons Gaming, a huge lore wuwa creator, he's trying to S6 these units and everything, and he was planning to use some of the corals in the shop for them. Well, tough luck. You cannot do that, unfortunately.
One regard, sure. And I agree. You should not convert your universal currency into a one-dimensional currency. You're setting yourself up for error. But we should not defend predatory garbage like this.
Thank you.
Guys, there should never be more than one currency.
There it is.
There shouldn't. The standard banner.
I always say this. I don't know why. It's like the goddamn... Hoyo does this to a middle degree. Premium banners, whether it's weapon or character, all have one currency. Standard have one currency. Just like Smack says, they should all have one currency, which is the convertible one. I mean, the convertible one is that, but they keep doing these exclusive currencies because they work on your mental gymnastics. They do these mental gymnastics where, oh, we gave you 10 pulls. But it's standard pulls. But it's still 10 pulls, right? No. We want them for the premium ones. Well, no. That doesn't matter. 10 pulls. You get to roll. Isn't that what you want? You gambling at douchebags? That's what they're saying.
Currency should probably be the only exception because that shit is dog water in terms of value and it ages like milk over time. Other than that, the limited currency should be the same currency utilized on all collab characters, all banners, all limited, all that shit across the scope of the
always give us asteroids. That's something I've always complained about. In those freebies they give you every patch. What if I want to pull for the weapon? What if I don't want to pull for the character? I want to pull for the weapon. What now? What now? Like seriously, what now? Why can't I just have it in asteroids? What if I wanted to pull in the standard banner? I'm close to pity. I just want to get the weapon from there. Why can't I use it as asteroids? They do that on purpose. They do that on purpose. It's to minimize the degree of impact those freebies have in your account. And they remove a little bit of agency from you. It's genius.
They changed the currency. They did it to make more money and to fuck people over who were just simply naive. There's no other way to spin it. Two things can be right at the same time. But I want you guys to know there should never be a change in currency. And I think a lot of people who are cooking, people who convert their stuff over, will get behind that sentiment as well. In fact, I saw my brother Skull CJ. He was basically saying, why would you convert a universal currency into a one-dimensional?
Yeah.
Great argument. There's really...
Yeah, why would you do
really
that?
A dumb thing to do. It really is.
Well, you do that because you just want to see them, you see the number. As someone that used to retard max, like I said before, that's why.
We also don't encourage defending predatory practices at the same exact time. And if you go under EO's comment, there's some good arguments being made. It's a really good discussion. Could the player have avoided an unexpected situation? Yeah.
Yes.
Did the company do this on purpose, hoping to screw over players with saved pulls that converted earlier saved gold pulls? Yeah. I blame the group with ill intent in this situation. You see what I mean? And I could get...
I like that. The fact is, the ones that have the ill intent, the ones that are obviously behaving in a way that a lot of players are not going to get behind, is the company and not the player itself. Because the player may have been naive, but the fact is, his intent is pure. It's good. It's normal. They're just navigating the system. They're doing what they can. But the company obviously did it on purpose to screw over players. So, yeah.
Behind that, I really can. I love that thought process. Having multiple different gacha currencies like this is done for no reason other than to obfuscate and create confusion for mistakes like this to happen. It's predatory and wrong. I love these kind of discussions.
Absolutely.
Because it's such pretty good facets of the discussion that contribute to productivity, that contribute to good conversation. This 100%. Is true. We all know it. We're not dumb. We all know what's going on here, man. And so getting back over to this is garbage. Fundamentally
100%.
You probably also shouldn't converted your pulls over. It sucks, man. But I will say there's a scenario where the game just gives you limited pulls. Right? You just continue playing this game, you're going to get limited pulls from events, radiant tides from events. They're just useless at that point. Doesn't matter if you didn't make a mistake, you just can't use those radiant tides. And the company knew exactly what they were doing. This will tie into my take at the end of the video on why they're doing these things too. I think
he's hyping up the end of the video. I kind of want to jump into it right now.
It'll make a lot of sense. So moving on, that is booty cheeks. Let's continue on. This is the next big one. Now, this is the most penny pinching shit. This is the most objectively. It's not even my opinion. This is some penny pinching shit.
I'll be honest, I didn't read these too much, so this is kind of new to me. All right, let's see.
And it's changing of rules, which I find problematic.
Okay, here we go.
I find unethical. They nerfed the amount of corals you get from how they normally do things. Let me give you an example. We come over here and we pull up the current limited banner and we just go over here to the rules. Yeah, you see the rules, like 0.8% to get a 5-star character. Imagine if they tweak the 0.8 down to 0.5 just for the collab. You're like, whoa, what are you doing? You see what I mean? Now, thank God they didn't do that. Thank God they didn't do that. Mm-hmm. But they did change the rules somewhere else, right? These rules right here. When you obtain a 5-star resonator for the first time, you're supposed to get 15 of the corals, right? When you get a repeat of a 5-star, when you get a 5-star that's not the featured one, you lose your 50-50. You're supposed to get 30.
Okay.
Right? You can look at all of these little rules,
5 stars,
right? From the 8th time onward, you're getting 40 afterglow corals if you have a S6 of a 5-star. When we pull this back up, they nerfed it. Now, instead of 15, when you obtain a 5-star, you get 12. And you might think, they nerfed it. It ain't that big of a deal, brother. It's not about that. Stop changing rules for the worst of the consumer.
Exactly.
If you're going to change some rules, motherfucker, give us more for the better.
I know. That's preach.
A worse? This is unethical. What are we doing?
I know.
To make matters worse, once you take all that into consideration, getting 4-star weapons, getting 4-star characters and all that, and you come back up here to the top where you got to get 480 elusive corals to buy the 362. Now you see them 12 corals of the
fucking, oh my God. God damn it. Holy shit. I did not know that. I forgot about that. I forgot. He said it at the start. It just dawned on me. Fuck. Oh my. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. You did not do that. Oh my days, bro. Oh my days.
the bottom starting to hit a little differently, aren't they? And so this will all tie into my take at the beginning of the video, but it seems like they're penny pinching and they are grabbing things and changing things, tweaking here and here, all for the sake of making a little extra money.
Yes.
Right? This is why, by the way, I skipped this because I was one of the people that got duped. I was like, this is amazing. And I still think it's amazing. Don't get it twisted. I actually still think this is amazing. But the value of this is diminishing each time I point out these ways that they have extrapolated from their...
True. He's totally right. 100%. They're not as valuable as they used to. 100%. Like the only way to go about this is to try and use those additional pulls as you get like the one loot. I feel like I'm speaking for the majority here. Most of us are just going to get the Lucy and dip out. Some people will have the ability to go for weapons, etc. For spenders, like duh. And this will impact them even more. But I feel like for free-to-plays, the best approach is to get the events, like I said, pull, and then use those kickback to just push yourself further, and that's it. And you just pause. That's it. You don't pull there anymore. Because the problem also is that those are character pulls. You cannot even use them for weapon, which is very alarming.
They've been saving to use towards the collab. It's like, damn, when you add all this up, well, now this dupe up here ain't looking as sweet no more.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not. I've said this the first time I said it. The only good about it is if you lose the 50-50 and you are willing to go to 160 anyway, you guarantee yourself an S1 plus the lost 50-50. That's the only good thing about it. That's it. Besides that, if you're not one of these players, it doesn't matter. This is obviously for, I would argue, like the kind of like players like me, or like a free-to-play pluses. This is obviously for them. Or for players that have saved up a bit for this collab, didn't convert them, of course. This is decent. This is decent if you lose the 50-50 when you take into consideration the 50-50.
It's like some people had enough currency to get this dupe with the resources they've been saving for the collab.
Exactly.
But you took all those options away. And so now this is still valuable, but not as valuable. You know what I mean? Some people had enough.
It minimizes the damage for the 50-50. That's all it's doing. For the most part, for the majority of player base. Of course, for others, it's a different ball game.
Account to buy 2 dupes. 1 dupe, 2 dupes. You knew what you was doing when you took that core away and made it a different currency. Yep. Shame on you. That's some slimy garbage practice. This is coming from somebody who's excited by the collab, by the way.
Me too.
I'm not a Kuro Doom poster. Go check the last 2 videos, my live stream. I'm blazing the living hell out of him.
Oh yeah, he's an honorary #1 Kurobot is what he is.
This is just me, as I told you, being fair, shooting it down the middle, being pragmatic, trying to take into account the different perspectives from different players in different circumstances. There's no hate in my blood when I'm pointing this stuff out. It's just pointing it out. Now, if you ask me, collab is still so exceptional in quality that I think it's garbage. I hope you guys complain enough for them to change it, but if they don't, I'm still playing the collab.
Yeah, we all are. Because people are going to complain and everything, but they're still going to be pulling. They're still going to be playing. It is what it is. The fact is, you won't get that level of quality anywhere else right now. So what are you going to do? Exactly. You're going to take it. Most players are just going to take it.
I am. Now, if everybody got together and was like, nah, bro, all of us, everybody together, we're going to tell them we will uninstall unless they fix it. I mean, every Kuro player under the sun.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you.
I'll be leading that charge. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you 100% at that point. But we all know that's not going to happen. We see what happens in Genshin. We know the same shit is going to happen here. Yeah, 100%. If that was the main sentiment in the community, I would uninstall right now. Oh, yeah. We want to stand for the cause. Absolutely. We want to send a message to all them gacha developers. Hell yeah. Let's do it, brother. But the fact of the matter is that probably will never happen. And because of that, well, we're all going to have to navigate this accordingly. That's it.
About time the consumer took control. Bro,
I know. That's what I'm saying, boy.
Power has always been in y'all's hands. But we know gacha players, boy, y'all ain't about that life. All right.
There he said it. Yeah, we all know. I mean, you know it. I know it. He knows it. We all know it.
Let's continue on. I'm just having a little fun here, man. Trying to lighten the mood. This is like a little nitpick. It's a minor nitpick. 10 days for 10 pulls. Bro, just get the 10 pulls on day 1. Why?
That's a good question.
Why am I complaining about this? Why are you complaining about getting things for free? It's because I understand FOMO, adrenaline, and hype on day 1 of these collabs being launched. A lot of people are not waiting 10 days to get their 15 pulls.
I'm waiting those 10 days. I am. You will not see. Well, what I'm going to do is try and get in early is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my Astra to try and get in early. If I don't get in early, I'm sitting there waiting. Oh, I'm sitting there waiting. I don't give a damn. I'm getting more currency. I'm getting more Astrites as I do events and everything else. And I'm going to get those free pulls and then spend them to finish up the rest. If I get in early, I'll just use them anyway. That's just me having a bit of an issue for instant gratification. And plus, I'm a creator. I kind of have to post Lucy pulls right off the bat. But if I fail, well, tough luck. I'm just not going to do that. I feel like because I have to capitalize on these. I don't have the resources to just ignore these. I can't.
A lot of people are going to be missing 15 pulls on day 1, and they're just going to spend money in the shop versus waiting on
Yeah,
you know,
players that are very afflicted by instant gratification, if you want shit now, you're fucked. Yeah, you will not be able to take full advantage of this. An argument could even be made because of the nature of pity not carrying over, and you have these pulls now. A lot of players may be incentivized. They're like, okay, well, I have like around 20 pulls now. You know what I can do? I can just stack more 50 pulls and try to get another Lucy. And then you add in the other kickback event where you can get like a free dupes and everything. A lot of players are going to be incentivized to pull even more and push the boundaries of what they feel comfortable even more for the sake of capitalizing on these kickback freebies they give you. It's a scummy predatory tactic. We see it. We all know it. But you're going to have to just use this to your advantage instead of letting it control you into doing things you otherwise would not be doing. So you want to be very smart on this one.
7 for 5 pulls and day 10 for 15 in total. This is why I always say, bro, give all this on day 1. It's okay to do the 7-day log and all that stuff, but honestly, if they gave it all on day 1, that would be more money saved in your pocket. That's why they stretch it all the way out to day 10 and day 7. It's a minor nitpick. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just saying that's a problem. The final thing I want to talk to you guys about, I do want to point out, you are going to get some astrites. This is still one of the greatest W's of all time. My boy Adam Smasher being a boss in the game, it's still a W. I still think the collab is exceptional quality. I think getting some pulls here and there is pretty cool from the events and such. You'll be getting some astrites. I'm not glazing over it. I'm just saying this is pretty valuable for people who can't afford to spend the money. You'll be able to grind some patch out and get a couple of astrites.
Yeah.
That said, the final thing, which I kind of already spoiled it, but I still want to talk about it, is this Coral Exchange conversion. This is probably one of the biggest scumbag things. I didn't think Coral.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Taking away people's Coral shop conversion.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just a flashback of, where's it at? Where the transducers. It's a flashback of this.
I forgot about it. Oh, my God. You know what? While we at it, we might as well just get a goddamn transducer, bro. Just get a transducer, bro. That's the deuce they dropped on your corals, man. Just get it. Get that honorary transducer, man.
It's like you put the transducers where I'm able to choose my substats in the worst spot possible in the game. You put it in the Afterglow Coral shop that I use to buy dupes or pulls on characters. Nobody is buying this except...
Ain't no one buying this except like those huge whale mid-maxers. Like, by the way, 30, that's like 4 pulls. That's the equivalent of 4. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Wells. Put this transducer inside of the battle pass for purchase or even oscillated coral shop. Hell, the title exchange, you put it in the worst spot possible. Actually, don't put it in the title exchange.
No, that was the first signal. That was a sign of how predatory Kuro is becoming, how greed maxing they're willing to become. That was a sign, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it was. We all know it was. Because obviously, the biggest complaint about Wuthering Waves since day 1 is the ecosystem. We all know that's a huge problem. They could have fixed it. There's obviously a problem they've created. Even in the devs listened era of Kuro games, they still didn't fix that problem. They didn't. And now they're finally acknowledging that they want to do something about it. And they went about it in the most greedy way possible. So it was a bit of a sign that Kuro can be greedy.
Either. Oscillated corals is where that should have been if it was going to be a player-friendly thing. At the bare minimum, put it inside of a purchasable battle pass. You put it inside Afterglow.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Taking this away from players, that's slimy, man. Come on. Guys, let me break this down for you, okay? For me, it's just 25 pools, right?
Yeah, for me too. For me too. That's what I did. I spent all of them to maximize what I get off that event as I build pity. And I'm just obviously going to use them for Lucilla anyway. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just use them now. And I got those little accessories for Hayuki and Denya, and I'm good. But, and I have pity built for Lucilla, and I'm going to use those corals when Lucilla's banner come, which I'm forced to do anyway, because I'm going to be spending a lot of pulls now. I'm kind of running out of currency. But if you're not in the same situation as me, this sucks donkey balls.
But I told you, they're cucking me too, but the person who pulls on every banner to support Wuthering Waves, they're the one taking the biggest L, because the person that pulls on every banner is going to have a shit ton of these.
You should just use them. I use them a lot. I'll be honest, because I don't know about you guys, but I run out of astrites, so I start using these. They're like this. They're like the savings account. We all know we use corals as like savings account. Free-to-plays and Free-to-Play Plus know exactly what I'm talking about. These are your savings account. You go to them in case of emergency. You go to them and use them. But the reason why you're not using them is because you know sometimes you might want to get a wave band. Kind of like myself. I haven't used them in ever. The only wave band I've ever purchased was the Mornier one for good reason. And yeah. Unfortunately, if you don't use them and you've always saved them because you spend, you've never needed to have a savings account and in case of emergency break open glass through the corals, yeah, you're screwed. You're penalized for spending. You are literally penalized for spending. So, oh, guess what? Since you're already spending, why not spend on the banner too there, man? What the hell, boy? That's right. That's what they're telling you.
And they're going to be like, oh, I can't wait to use on the collab. It's not just the fact that, like, Kuro, we all understand Kuro's trying to make money, guys. Okay, we all understand this. Okay.
Well, there's certain degrees to what we can tolerate.
Let me now my brain's
And
going
how they go
everywhere, 'cause
about
I gotta tackle
practices.
this argument. There are people out there who use the most broad paintbrush stroke argument. Well, duh, they're a company, they're going to make money. It's like, brother, sure, but do you understand how horrible that rebuttal is to bad business practices, unethical practices? Like, you can use that rebuttal on literally anything out there in business. Exactly. Hey guys, Walmart's now charging $15 a month for people to enter their store to shop. What the fuck? Are you serious? That's horrible. And some guy comes along and says, well, bro, they're a company. They got to make money.
Yeah, they got to make money.
What?
Yeah, it's so brain dead. They just try to excuse and make what's happening logical to themselves. But certain logics aren't necessarily computing when you realize that, well, it's because they're a company that's still run by people with agendas. And when you take that into consideration, these are choices, not because of how nature is. No, it's not like fire burns. No, the fact is, those are people and are more flexible towards how they go about doing things. That's it. And the moment you understand the strategy, that's the fire. But if they change something, that's no longer fire, that's something else. And because now it's something else, you know that, well, we got to communicate with the person that's trying to change what fire does. Or else, well, obviously we might not have to want to play with this fire anymore. So, yeah.
What kind of argument is that, bro? Get out. Stay in the back with Amber, little bro. It's like, oh, I'm charging $1 now for people to watch my YouTube videos because I'm a business. I got to make money. You see what I'm saying? We don't just use that excuse to just defend garbage implementations in terms of trying to turn a profit. There's a time to use it and there's a time to not use it. This is not one of those times. It's a terrible argument, bro. Because that also implies they're not making enough money, that they're not making a heaping amount of money, that they're not making 50 million to 200 million a month.
What's funny is that companies become more predatory the more money they make. That's what's funny. A lot of people are in this misconception. No, companies are less friendly when they make a lot of money because they're maximizing profit. They know they're up there. They know they're now a big brand and they're trying to capitalize on that popularity to make even more money because they know maybe that popularity is not going to be there forever, which is smart, which is the case. That's a smart business. However, when it comes to this degree, if they want to do this, they have to do it in a way that is tolerable to the consumer. If they take it a step too far, it's just, we can't tolerate it anymore. That's too much salt. Too much salt. Now the food is too salty. I can't eat this anymore.
You see, the problem is people don't know how much money these companies make on the PC because they don't disclose it because they're private companies too. Y'all have no idea. You only see mobile revenue and little leaks of their profits. But if you only knew how much money they really make from PC and mobile and console, then you would go, oh, these guys are making egregious amounts of money. They're making billions. Like, it's wild when you process that. Oh, actually, I almost forgot to cover the Sweet Dream tuning. This is a W. This is a W. It's literally icing on the cake, guys. I'm gonna be real. Like, I understand all the other stuff I just pointed out was bad, but that doesn't mean that this is not good. Everybody, a lot of people, vast majority of people, were already planning to do 160 pulls on this collab to secure Lucy, to secure her signature weapon, to secure Rebecca's signature weapon. A lot of people were already planning to do that. That's over 160 pulls if you lose a 50-50, by the way, and it's still 160 pulls if you get Rebecca, Lucy, and Lucy's sig. It's still 160 pulls. So in that regard, you're getting 15 pulls back and an extra dupe on top of that. It is literally just a W for so many players. Furthermore, this is not a definitive spending event. If you try to say that, you're objectively wrong. A definitive spending event is when you literally cannot acquire the goods without spending money. That was the spending event last time. I don't know if I have that up actually, because that event, you would not reap the benefits
if you don't spend.
Unless you spent money. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The event where you got the dog water rewards, you had to buy a monthly pass. You had to buy a battle pass. You had to spend money in order to get that little currency to then exchange for what they were offering. This,
the transducer.
I can go start a new account, brand new account.
And you can take advantage of it.
Play it for 30 days. I guarantee I'll reach 160 pulls and I'll be able to get Lucy plus the dupe and all that jazz. I'll get more than that actually. So this is not a spending event, but some people will end up spending to try and secure some of this stuff because of, well, they chose to pull on Dinia. They chose to pull on Luke Herson. They chose to pull on Sigrika and he all four. So you probably will have to spend to get to 160, but that was a choice you made. That doesn't make this a spending event. It's a spending event for your ass.
Of course.
All right, my bad. I didn't mean to cook. Now, this back end part, it falls off a cliff. However, still, a lot of people saved up and they were trying to get an S6 Lucy. Some of them be able to get this for free. Some people have 420 worth of astrites. They will go all the way to this without spending a penny, and then they'll just have two dupes, and it'll save them a lot more resources on S6 Lucy or Rebecca or both or whatever.
Which is
then there's whales who are just going to whale out. Another spending event for them. That's an exception. And
well, they get to whale out and save a bit too. So like it's just all in all for free to plays. I've already explained how, because if you lose your 50-50, it helps negate that. At least you get an S1 out of your bucks. So that's okay. It's fine. And also for whales, it's a huge kickback because they can, instead of going S6, they have to go just S4 and they can just get two. So that's cheaper.
And they'll save a lot more money with this too. This is a W. You will not convince me that this is bad in any capacity.
No, this is good.
Like I said earlier, it does dilute the value of it when you take in all the other little factors.
Yes,
okay,
100%.
Now, the next thing I want to tackle in this same exact topic, going back to how they took away your coral purchases, I'm somebody, 36 pulls went down the drain for me. 25 from this and then 16 from the Radiant Tide. That's pretty expensive still for a Gacha game. But there are people who had enough to buy 2 whole wave bands out of the shop. 2 whole wave bands, that's 2 whole copies of a character, guys. That's up to, if you lose both 50/50s and go to the pity both times, that's close to $600. That's how expensive these.
What? God damn! 600 doubloons? Get the fuck out. What the fuck, man? I ain't spent. And I'm spending $600 and I'm not even getting my dick sucked? Get the fuck out of here.
Games are. $100 equals 55 pulls. Now, thankfully, the top up reset, right? So it's cheaper. Regardless, it's hundreds of dollars. Hundreds of dollars, taking away that from players is a lot of money. And they're banking on those players going, damn it, now that I can't use this, I'm just going to have to spend money because I am not missing out on my S2 Lucy, my S6 Lucy, my Lucy. I'm not missing out on it. I'm not missing out on my S6 Rebecca, whatever. They know how bad you want that character. They look at your spending habits. They have the data on you guys and how often you spend money on things. They know Cyberpunk Edge Runners is a hit. That's why this collab is such a huge and big deal. And so what's happening, and this is my anecdotal, I can't prove any of this stuff, right? But what's happening is they are taking in account how many players are going to end up spending money. People who want the collab characters will end up spending money to secure them. Money they would have otherwise saved if they could use their current Coral Shop resources and limited pools on their account. For example, let's say 250 to 500,000 players are now going to spend an extra 50 to 150 USD to make up for that L. This is not meant to be taken as fact. I'm just saying, let's say 20 million people.
For example, it's an example.
Or 20 million people are going to play this collab. 250 to 500,000 people, just making it up, throwing numbers out there, end up spending 50 to 150 because you took away their Coral Shop exchange and their Radiant Tide.
Yes.
That's 12.5 million to 75 million USD extra.
Well, when you put it like that, I think if I was Wuthering Waves, if I was Kuro Games, I would probably be doing the exact same shit too. Yeah. I mean, now we understand why they're doing it. See, now you really see why. Yeah.
On top of whatever they're already going to make. This is just an example. All you got to do is just take 250 to 500,000 and multiply it times 50 to 150 USD, and you come up with that number. Business ethics are the moral principles and standards that guide the behavior of companies and their employees. It goes beyond legal compliance to ensure fairness, transparency, and integrity in daily operations, decision-making, and interactions with customers, stakeholders, and society. There was no transparency about them doing this up until a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
They waited for people to have a lot of corals.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, guys, by the way, this is exclusive Coral Shop.
Yeah.
Well, that's some Hoyo shit.
Worse, I don't even think Hoyo could never. Shit. Hoyo could never. I've never done this shit. Did they ever do this shit? I don't remember any time they did this shit.
Hey, man, I play out a Hoyo book, dog. I'm not going to cap, bro. All right. This is the double premiere limited banners running at the same time type shit.
Oh, kind of like that. Okay.
I understand why people are up in arms about this.
Of course.
And I don't think anybody should be attacking people for being frustrated. Guys,
no.
I want to let you know. It always happens with the tribalism in this community. They go, oh, it's the Hoyo shields. Like, brother, these ain't Hoyo shields. These are very much Kuro players that are pissed because they're like, God damn, I got to spend my money now. And I calculated I was going to be able to get out of this with an S6 Lucy without having to spend this amount of money.
That's what I feel like a lot of people are mad because we all had expectations. We all did our math. We had our plans, our strategy. There's one thing I learned. If you want to make God laugh, show him your plans. And this is another example of that.
Now that they're doing this, I'm forced to either spend money to get that or just miss out on it entirely. And that's the perfect predicament they want you in. Okay?
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
I think people are entirely justified in calling out this. This is bad practice.
Of course.
It is, guys. It is. Now, I'm going to be real with you. This is where I represent the other side of this equation. And then we'll wrap up with what I think is happening. I also think there's a lot of people who were so excited for this collab, who are so pleased with the quality of what they saw in that live stream, how they've represented Lucy and Rebecca, Adam Smasher, David, the music, so on and so forth. It's very rare to find a company in the gacha space that actually does a good job with their collab, right?
Especially when you consider what happened with Honkai Star Rail. You know, Is This Britain?
It's very rare. And so I think there's a lot of people who acknowledge how garbage this is, but they also acknowledge that they're standing in a casino. They acknowledge the bad shit, the ugly stuff that is existing in the casino. They know it's there. And yet they selfishly consume. Guys, this is the world we live in. As consumers, you have to know the rooms you're walking into, the company you're sharing this game with, and how they are operating. This is why minorities and majorities exist. It's important to know if you're the minority or the majority. Because if you're the minority, nothing is going to change. The majority are going to eat that shit up, all right? Like Cheerios. No, Cheerios ain't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And you're going to have to deal with that or uninstall. That's the reality of it. 100%. Now, I'm going to tell you something where you might be like, fuck you, Smack. I'm one of the people, I do not give a damn about any of this.
And there it is. And there it is. Look, it's annoying. We call it out, but the reality is we're going to be dealing with it anyway because all in all, the pros outweigh the cons. That's it. We're not quitting. It's not enough of a reason to just want to quit. Like that's it. It's alarming. That's for sure. We're now having a bit of a waken-eyed moment. Like we're wide-eyed about this. We're like, oh shit. Oh, they can be predatory and shit. I gotta be careful now, man. Oh fuck. Yes, but the fact is, you're not quitting. I'm not quitting. We're not quitting. Majorly speaking, we're not quitting. We're gonna navigate this in true free-to-play fashion, and we're gonna keep going because. Where else are you going to go? Is there any other big, high-quality gacha game like Wuthering Waves? Well, one could say, oh, NTE is a close second. Yeah, sure, but NTE is it still needs to do that polish. It still needs to build up on that. We're playing both anyway. So when I'm done with NTE in my dailies, I kind of want to do something else. And who was the next second? So like I have to play both to have a more balanced game time. So yeah. Sadly, we can't really speak up. There's not much of a movement going against Kuro anyway because it's not that bad. And we understand that it's more of a one-time thing more than anything else. It's not this repetitive trend that's been happening again and again like Hoyoverse. So if Kuro repeats this again, we might have a bigger movement, right? A bigger backlash. But since this is the first time, and all in all, the quality is also there, which is very important because a lot of players are willing to eat shit as long as the quality is there. Like we're all, you know how it is. Sometimes you just want to buy something. You're like, I want to make sure I buy the best shit ever. So that way my purchase is as efficient as possible. I'm willing to spend. Give me the best quality possible because we like quality. Quality is very important and WoW delivers on that quality. And quality is bigger pricing. Unfortunately, the more you want quality, the higher the price is going to be. It's just the way the marketing works. It's just the way the market works. It is what it is.
I'm getting my Lucy. I'm getting my Rebecca. I'm getting my Six. Yes, this is garbage.
Yep.
It is. But I have fought this battle in the gacha space long enough to know how meaningless it is. I have tried for years, guys, to tell y'all about these gacha companies and their predatory practices. I've tried to scrutinize. I've tried to be like, oh, you gotta quit these damn gacha games. It doesn't work. Nobody.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We're always going to talk about it because I'm pretty sure if this is going to be established, players are going to start saying, shut the fuck up. Like, why are you complaining about it? Because they lock themselves in this cloud, in this bubble. And every time you remind them of how things should be and that this is not necessarily okay, we're just tolerating it and navigating it, they get a little angry, right? It pops their bubble. And a lot of people don't like reality checks because reality tend to be very uncomfortable to many. I feel like we always have to acknowledge that, okay, we're just tolerating this. You always remember this is bad and you're tolerating it, but you don't defend us. Just don't defend it. And we keep navigating it accordingly. But the reality is, as he said, we're not going to get up in arms. The Genshin boycott failed yet again. They did all the classroom, all the crazy shit. They didn't even get a 10-pole out of it this time. Typically, they could get a 10-pole. I'm shocked they didn't even give them that 10-pole this time around. They just said, man, fuck y'all. What are you going to do? And guess what? Nothing. And Nicole, apparently a good character, broke numbers and they're in the green. They made more money than last month where the boycott wasn't happening. That speaks a lot to the nature of gacha gamers and how for the majority speaking, players aren't even aware of what's happening on the internet for these gacha games. They're just over there having free-to-play games. They just play and dip out. And even if they see this, they're still going to play because where else are you going to go? And that's it. The fact is, change is going to be very hard. And the only way for change to occur is through new competitors, something like NTE, and where we kind of speak up on, hey, look at what's happening here. Can you do the same? We'd appreciate it. See, it's possible, and it's fun. It's good. We like it. Can you do it over here, too? We'd really appreciate it. That's the only way. And for obviously the competition to start absorbing consumers from the other, and once the company starts to recognize that they're bleeding consumers to a competitor, that's where they step their game up. That's the only way things are going to change, even remotely. But we'll see what happens.
Nobody ever listens. They just do their own thing anyway. And so it's at this point, I'm just like, all right, fuck it, bro.
Yeah,
I'm done
fuck
with
it. We ball.
We will call out the things. We'll be as fair as we can.
There it is.
But I'm just going to enjoy myself because none of this ever bothers me. I make damn good money. I can S6 every character from every patch going forward. That's not a flex. That's a fact. I don't because that's.
But it's a flex. It's unnecessary to point out. It's a bit of a flex.
Now I get down, but I'm here to tell you, none of it bothers me. It doesn't make a damn difference to me. I get my S6 Lucy and carry on with my day. I say these things because I just try and be as fair as I can. But I have lost my passion for getting on the horse and trying to call out everybody.
Oh, yeah, me too. 100%. I used to be very passionate and emotional towards topics like this. I'm kind of like him. I feel like a lot of players are, and that's the kind of the new trend and the new meta of how to go about gacha games. You just want to have fun. I feel like that's the most important factor in approaching video games, because I feel like the term games equates to fun. That's the most important part. And as long as I can get that, I'm good.
Bad practice. Hey guys, don't do this because I realize I'm also a bit of a hypocrite if I do that, because I'm still covering gacha games. I am a bit of a hypocrite. I'm still covering these gacha games. I'm still reaping the full benefits of the sponsorships, of all these other things. I will call them out, but I won't really get up in arms about it because I know I'm still in the space consuming this stuff, promoting it and covering it.
Based.
That's
fucking
my
based.
honest thoughts on everything. Now, what do I think is going on? Why is Kuro all of a sudden Hoyo maxing? All right, why are you doing it? Some of y'all might even think Hoyo's doing a little better in some regards. Nah, hey, listen, I ain't gonna go that far. That's up to you guys. Y'all can fight it out. I try my best these days actually to not create tribalism, but it seems impossible. Rent free.
Yeah, tribalism, just corny ass, bait ass shit. Like, that's it. It's over. No one likes that shit anymore.
Is the perfect term of these gacha players. All right, you could say anything. They'll find a way to make it tribalism. I think what's happening.
It's just a minority. I feel like they're kind of dying out. I'll be honest. I'm starting to find like a new audience, pretty base, just trying to have fun, just chill, cool individuals that look at them like the internet weirdos that they are. They're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, whatever you say, little pups. What? Red. They just leaving their asses on red.
Is Kuro Games entered bed with CD Projekt Red, and they underestimated the budget. They underestimated the split with CD Projekt Red.
Could be.
I think what's happening is it was a very expensive collab.
Oh, 1,000,000%. It's so fucking obvious.
Not only was it a very expensive collab up front and throughout the year of making it, it's also expensive in the cake. And I can't prove any of this. This is another anecdotal. It's also expensive in the cut of the profit margin that CD Projekt Red is going to be getting on their characters.
Obviously.
I think that's another big one. And so there's a accountant in a room full of business executives, and that accountant is plugging in these numbers, how much it costs to create the collab, how much the split is going to be going towards the Kuro developers, the Tencent team, and CD Projekt Red. He's plugging all these numbers and he's going, guys,
Tencent are the investors.
This is going to be our profit margin based off of the data we have of players and what they're spending.
He's saying it too.
We are falling far below what we guessed to make off of this collab.
Because see, like I said before, Kuro is in a middle ground where they have to please CDPR and the investors, and of course their bottom line, because the investors is kind of like their bottom line. They have to do this in order to make sure they reach the numbers the investors project they're gonna get. 100%.
Here's what I think we need to do. Instead of 360 corals, make it 480. That's 120 corals. That effectively costs this much in USD. 120 corals would be converted over. If players were to spend to make up that difference, this is how much we would generate. That would put us here. All right. Now, the coral conversion that you currently have in your game, if we were to take that from 15 down to 12, and we were to take this, it's all getting plugged in. This is how much they would have, and this is how much they would realistically spend if they were to try to cover that discrepancy.
I think the best example is going to be this. Okay, guys, Kuro Games, I'm your accountant. See, CDPR wants this amount. And because of that, unfortunately, the investors are going to get a little bit of a lower pay cut if we read the numbers and the simulation, and based on the data that we have through our players, we project this is the number we're going to be making through this collab. Now, there's a way to fix this. We're going to have to tweak the numbers because unfortunately the investors are projecting this number this month. So in order for us to satisfy them, we're going to need to greed max in this. And we're going to have to tweak the formula. And through tweaking this formula, we project that you're going to be making this amount of money instead of this amount of money. We should be appealing to the investors and, of course, to you, Kuro Games. That's basically what he's trying to say here.
That would now put us here, right? Now, the Coral Shop exchange you have, if you were to make that uniquely a new exchange, that's going to cause players to spend this much money on average based off the data you have. If we were to do all of this is how much money we're going to make.
Exactly.
I think we should do it that way. Everyone's going to get the piece of their pie that they want. We all leave happy. The collab still ends up being a banker because we made an exceptional quality collab.
Exactly.
We all walk away. There'll be a little pushback, but they'll be all right. They'll get over it.
Fucking true.
That is my tinfoil theory hack, because all of this looks like penny pinching. It all looks like an accountant just plugs some numbers in and just deductive shit. I can't prove none of it, man, but hey.
No, but it makes total sense, and you can see the logic behind it, and that's 90% probably what happened behind closed doors.
All right, that's my tinfoil theory hack, bro. Y'all comment down below. Let me know what you think. I want you to know, once again, I don't really care about any of this stuff. I think it's interesting conversation. I love.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like it's important to keep in mind and to let players know exactly what they're in bed with, because as we've seen kind of through the sentiment that's happening right now, because of this, players tend to forget what they're dealing with. It's a good reminder, and I feel like it's important to have a proper conversation where it is in the middle. That's what I've tried to do for the past days. That's what he's doing here as well. I feel like this is very positive for the space. It's a good reminder, and in my opinion, a good suggestion to how the players should go about approaching these games, especially in terms of mindset. I feel like it's very important.
Critical thought conversations. I love putting critical thought inside of my community viewers. Ultimately, though, at the end of the day, gotcha companies are going to do what gotcha companies do. I've been saying that since frame one. They're not your friends. They're there to make a profit. They are. This is the perfect time to say they are there to make a profit, but it's important that you guys call it out. And if enough of y'all call it out, change might happen. All right?
Yep.
Peace, love, and happiness. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching.
So yeah, man, I guess good old Gacha Smack just had to drop the Kurobot for a second and call out Kuro games like they're supposed to be called out, man. So yeah, I think all in all, we're going to be playing. We're going to be navigating. We're not going anywhere unless a new Wuthering Waves come out. Not much for us to do, unfortunately. So we're going to have to take it. Now, thankfully, we know this is a one-time thing. And I think the player, let's just say, backlash would be even bigger if this was a change to the already core existing formula. Oh, yeah. We'd have a huge problem there. But even then, I'll argue that they might take a huge blow, but let's just say the true Kurobot and the true wuwa lovers, or like even players like myself, like where are you gonna go? Like the fact is that there isn't a similar product like Wuthering Waves in the market currently. NTE is a close second again, but they're not really there yet. So maybe by the time NTE reaches 2.0, they really do the polish, they really do the devs listen, and really improve on the bones and the foundation they have laid. We can have a conversation about this again, but until then, Kuro can really get away with a lot of shit right now. It's because they know in terms of quality, they're up there. Kind of like iPhones. You know, a lot of people complain about the prices of iPhones when the battery sucks and all that stuff. The reality is, where are you going to go? Is there something else like an iPhone? Yes, there is now, but back in the day, it wasn't used to be the case. So we're going to see the dynamics, and kind of like what we've seen with iPhones as well. When we had newer products that were similar in quality, in terms of performance especially, a lot of people stayed away from Apple, stayed away from iPhones, because now they know it's just more expensive because of branding, not more so just because they're an exceptional type of product. This might upset some of you guys. I'm not that knowledgeable in phones, but that's what I'm hearing. From my understanding, phones now are very performant. Even Huawei or something like that, very performing phones. Samsung even, and iPhone are just this brand, right? A lot of people like to associate quality with branding and names. It's just a very known thing, and iPhone established this a long time ago. Not necessarily the case anymore, but for some that are still blinded and don't know much, they still like to inflate the value of iPhones due to a preconceived notion of superior quality in the market, even though it's not necessarily the case anymore. I feel like this is going to be a very interesting conversation as things move on from here, and we see more competitors come in, and to see how players react in terms of consumer mentality to all these new products in the market. I feel like it's going to be a very interesting conversation that hopefully can change things for the better and not for the worse. I think it will probably change it for the better. More toys for us to enjoy too. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Be seeing you.